Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Tuesday, December 6, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. A day after the U.S. ambassador declared that people who are frightened by the judicial reform will make up stories and lie about the EU ambassador Romana Vlahutin, Euralius, and the Constitutional Court, Democratic Party MP Bulik Bashi gave a press conference declaring that the version of the vetting law sent to the Venice Commission had translation mistakes. The Democrat MP said that he is not afraid of allegations regardless of who is making them. The vetting cannot be made and the judiciary cannot be cleaned up from the corrupt with unconstitutional laws or by making manipulations in translation, said the DP MP. The Democratic Party has appealed the vetting law with the Constitutional Court, and the latter has asked for Venice Commission's opinion about the law. Now, after being assured by the Assembly and the Ministry of Justice that they did not send it, the Democratic Party wants to find out who did the translation of the vetting law that was sent to the Venice Commission. Those who are interested in knowing the truth of this manipulation should solve this. There are efforts being made to convince people that the Democratic Party is using an old version of the translated law, but this is not true. You know that the Democratic Party received the Albanian draft only 24 hours before its adoption, and not the English version, said the DP MP. Meanwhile, the Democrat expert listed the translation mistakes, which he says changed the basis of the law. He also clarified that only the Constitutional Court and not the Venice Commission has the right to declare a law unconstitutional. The Minister of Justice is seeking a disciplinary proceeding for the Fier judge who had not issued the protection order for the 42-year-old woman who was murdered by her husband. The minister said that he had ordered an investigation of the judge who has been found guilty of delaying the protection order. I began an administrative investigation, which was concluded yesterday evening, and found that the judge has committed a violation. The next step is to launch a proceeding for the judge, declared the Minister of Justice, calling on all judges not to undervalue the requests for protection orders. The minister invited the citizens who feel violated to call police. First, the law says that citizens who face violence cases should call the police. My advice is that citizens must have the police number saved in their mobile phones. Secondly, if the police verify a violence case, it must offer protection to the victims. The police must provide legal help for citizens to request a protection order with the court. Then, the court is obligated to issue the protection order. Judges should take the issue seriously because any failure to do so can have serious consequences. We will now go live with the mayor.
Mirë, ne jemi shumë të lumtur që këtë stim festash e gjen Tiranën më të pastër, e gjen Tiranën më të bukur, e gjen Tiranën një kantier pune, edhe mezi pres që këtë fund vitin e të jemi të gjithë bashkë. Sigurisht të gjithë do të festojnë me aq sa munden, po unë do doja t'i bëja thirrje të gjithëve që brenda mundësive ndihmoni njerëz që janë nevojë, njerëz që kanë nevojë për dashuri, njerëz që kanë nevojë për një vakt, njerëz që kanë nevojë që ju t'i vizitoni, të afërmit tuaj, ata që janë në qendra sociale, ata që janë në shtëpitë e fëmijës, ata që janë në shtëpitë të moshuarve. Është shumë e rëndësishme që qyteti, përveç festimeve, të përshkrohet nga një valë dashurie dhe solidariteti për të gjithë. Ndaj dua t'ju pyes, sa prej jush, dua që të ngrini dorën, sa prej jush do bëjnë një gjest bamirësie këtë muaj të dhjetorit, ngrini dorën. Sa prej jush, të gjithë, do japim të gjithë një dorë, sepse është e rëndësishme që të gjithë t'japim sa mundemi që e gjithë Tirana, pavarësisht kushteve ekonomike, pavarësisht rrethanave, të gëzojë këtë fundviti. Ne jemi shumë të lumtur që do të hapim fshatin e festave, ashtu si vjet ka aktivitete pafund për fëmijët, jo vetëm këtu në sheshin Nën Tereza, ku është aktiviteti kryesor, me gjithë shtëpizat prej druri, me gjithë lodrat e fëmijëve, me pistën e patinazhit. Dini të bëni patinazh apo jo? Po. Por më vjen mirë që gjithashtu dhe zonat tjera në të gjitha cepat e Tiranës do të zbukurohen dhe dua të falenderoj gjitha ato kompani dhe gjitha ato biznese që një pjesë të fitimeve të tyre ja kanë kthyer mbrapa qytetit duke i zbukuruar. Do të kemi aktivitete nga liçeni, do të kemi aktivitete në bulevardin kryesor ku disa statuja fantastike kanë ardhur nga Italia që janë bërë nga një mjeshtër shumë i njohur, por sigurisht festimi kryesor është ndezja e dritave të brethit. Jemi gati? Tani, Lali Eri ka pasur një ditë shumë të lodhshme dhe ndoshta nuk di të numëroj mirë mbrapsht. Do më ndihmoni që të numëroj mbrapsht? Do na ndihmoni dhe ju të tjerët? Dakor, atëherë do fillojmë numërimin mbrapsht nga 10-a deri te 1-shi, bravo, deri te 1-shi, dhe pastaj do përtasim gëzuar dhe do ndezim dritat e bretit. Jemi gati? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gëzuar festat, gëzuar mbarësi të gjithëve, një muaj i bekat për gjithë. Gëzuar. Do bëjmë fotografi gjithë bashkë?
Vetëm fëmijën, jo të lutem.
The Central Bank of Albania will have a special fund to be used to help second-level banks in the case of their financial stability being at risk. The law over the fund to save the banks was discussed at the Parliamentary Economic Commission. The Minister of Finance and the Vice Governor of the Bank of Albania declared that the bill aims to strengthen financial control. Many countries use taxpayer money to save the banks from bankruptcy. This process is a burden to the state budget and to the taxpayers. The aim of this bill is to avoid this as a solution, declared the Minister of Finance. However, to the opposition members, this is not the time to discuss that bill, as according to them, bad loans are the main problem of the economy and that the law will only add costs. The rescue fund will be created with the contribution from the banks, and it will be managed by the Central Bank of Albania. A meeting on alternative punishments was held today, where the Minister of Justice declared that prison is not the only alternative for those convicted, and that other options should be considered. Also, according to the Minister of Justice, the prisons are overcrowded. Prison should be the last option considered. It is not a democratic standard. There are also other alternatives that can be applied, said the minister, who announced that the Criminal Procedure Code is being reviewed. The Prosecutor General was also present at the meeting and expressed his support for alternative punishments, sharing the same concern with the Minister of Justice about prison overcrowding. The Albanian prosecution thinks that alternative punishments are a more efficient form because they can reintegrate those convicted back into society and prevent them from returning to crime again, said the Prosecutor General. Ambassador Borchardt of the OSCE also declared that prison time should be the last option to be considered, and only for cases when the criminal offense is so serious that any other measure would not be sufficient. The Parliamentary Law Commission discussed the security institution's budget. The Democrat MPs declared that the government is spending on luxury while the citizens are facing an absence of security, and asked for additional money for the security institution's budget. The Law Commission approved 10 million of the 20 million lek asked for by the Presidential Office for additional operational spending funds. The Commission approved only 2 million out of the 13 million lek of additional funds asked for by the Constitutional Court. Additional budget funding was also approved for the High Inspectorate for the Declaration and Audit of Wealth at 5.6 million lek, and the Magistrate School was granted 25 million extra lek by the Law Commission. At a forum organized to coordinate institutions in better managing protected areas, the Minister of Environment declared today that up to €3 million may be invested for promoting and developing these areas. The minister clarified that the investments will be made by foreign donors and added that the number of tourists in these areas has increased. Investments in protected areas have also been made by foreign donors. €6 million was invested in 2016, and €3 million is predicted to be invested in the coming year. Data reveals that the number of foreign tourists in protected areas has tripled. There were 400,000 visitors in 2015 and over 1 million visitors in 2016. Meanwhile, investments to establish 10 visitor information offices have been underway, declared the Minister of Environment. Present at the forum, the Minister of Economy emphasized the law on strategic investments. The law on strategic investments provides for investments in tourism in certain areas or industrial investments. Generally, investments in protected areas are made for tourism, said the Minister of Economy. Starting next year, for the first time, cameras will be placed in protected areas, which will help with the monitoring of wild fauna. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.